organizations in Uganda and the deafening silence that we are exhibiting. And allow me begin with the only gent on the panel that I hosted, that is Ronald. Ronald, we've seen several NGOs and civil societies quiet, yet they are in the corridors of democracy and governance. What is really going on? Do we have watchdogs in this coming general election? Should the people be worried, especially as a young person who's vying for the MP seat? Shouldn't you be worried to see that nobody is watching these elections to ensure that they are free and justice and they are peaceful?
Thank you so much, moderator. In every way, there are reasons to be worried, because, for example, we are dealing with a government that has lost human face, a government that is ready to either kill to have what it wants. For example, when we look at the recent Kawempe North by-election, we see that the government was using, like the Baganda say, okufirwa wachiri nkolachi nyonona. So our government is at that point where it will stop at nothing to attain what it wants. When we get back to the NGOs, all the civil society organizations, we must not forget that all these organizations are registered by a government entity. So in any way, if you come up against the government, it has the powers to close your entity. So there is more, and I would not blame anyone, because I, for one, when I looked at all that happened in the Kawempe, I also got worried and scared of what I'm going to face in Isinjiro. So let's not put it, let's not make it a blame game where we're saying why are the civil society is quiet. If in their position, I would say they are also trying to secure they are okay to make sure that they still keep working, because this is a government that if you will come up and say this is wrong, then they will have to make up something to at least make you either go to prison, abduct you, or even kill you, because we've seen people dying. So for me, it's now a call for each one of us, where you are, you can use your platforms, you can use your LC community, you can use whichever space that you have to put a voice forward, not waiting for the organizations or the other people to speak up. It's a personal thing now.
But
Everyone.
Ronald, even if it's a collective responsibility to address these issues, I have a feeling that civil society organizations have an upper hand. They have the right resources, they have the right network. What exactly are we missing? Are we saying that the practicing licenses, are far better than the democracy of people, than the well living and the well being of people? And because we've seen journalists being beaten up, and we have over 100 civil society organizations in this country. What are we, civil society organization, losing priority?
Well, thank you, moderator. I'll still say that these organizations, their ability to work is all stemmed on the licenses they get from the government. So if you want to stand against the person or the kingmaker that makes you, then you must be having other options to deal with things which many of the people don't have. If you do not have a license, then you're not going to operate. So they are also quiet, but still there are reasons as why they are quiet, because this is a government that has power over everything they do. For example, if a government can go wild to an extent, like how it acted on the journalists in the recent Kawempe by-election, why would we still send more people on the front line to suffer or to die? We've seen enough already. That's why I'm telling you that use your space, use your voice wherever you are, and put forward a voice, but don't depend on someone to put it out for you, because they are scared, and the environment is not favorable. We are dealing with a government that I cannot even describe. So to me, it is upon every Ugandan to do the needful, not bending or leaning on a certain part of people to put forward a voice.
Let me chip in, Flavia, right there. Flavia, we've seen several times the West has come in to address some of these issues in the country, in Uganda today. However, for the past by-election, Even when the freedom of the press has been on gunpoint, none of them have come out. Is the West losing interest in addressing issues regarding democracy in this country and Africa at large, even beyond the interests and what they get from us? What is the future? Is the West going to continue taking away our minerals while they keep quiet on such critical issues?
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank my brother here for elaborating certain issues. You know, we've been under this regime for 38 years, and I would assure you that the government has got so comfortable. We've gotten so comfortable to a point that they believe they can do anything that they want without much question, and no one will question them on what they're doing. We've seen that happen. But then also, we've seen the citizens run for help to the Western countries through social media. We've seen asylum, we've seen all those things. Yeah. But still, we've looked at these same people being attacked for minding our business on so many occasions, I would say. Let's look at chapter 4. We all know chapter 4. It was recently attacked for being funded by the West. Yeah. So, how do we expect Western support, and how do we expect civil society to come on board and scold the government if the government is trying to tie our hands? They'll come out and say we're in Uganda. Recently, Museveni said after the Supreme Court ruling, what did he say? He said Uganda is not ruled by judges. How sure are we he's not going to come out and say the Uganda isn't ruled by the West? We've seen National Unity Platform being accused of getting diaspora support. But I want to thank my colleague for coming in her revolutionary attire. Very smart and courageous, I would say, because anyone can pick you from anywhere because of that. I want to appreciate you for that. So we cannot blame the West for keeping quiet, because at the end of the day, it is our problem, truthfully. If even us ourselves we have failed to look the regime in the eye and say you're doing this wrong, yeah, we cannot keep running for help. These guys have tried their best, truly, they have tried, and still it backfires with us. These people come and tell us you're not running anywhere, and immediately by then they believe that you're asking for help from the West. You're going to be chained, your businesses are going to be broken. They're going to try and put all those rampant cases on you. They can even accuse you for terrorism. We have seen these things happen, for treason, you see. So that's why I gave a very clear case on chapter 4 as a civil society organization. They accused them of being funded by the West. Yeah. And that became a problem for the government. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Flavia. You raise very critical issues. And Maggie, let me get to you. Flavia raises very interesting points, and I understand you've been in the heart of civil society through the Stop ECOP campaign, and don't you think that these policies we should, much as we are looking at the Stop ECOP project, which I believe is also brought up by greedy leaders who are trying to look at themselves, what they are getting, and you know what, we have to face the consequences of all this. Shouldn't we all be looking at democracy, since it's the start of everything, it's the foundation? Once we lack the democracy and once we have bad governance, don't you think that's how we end up with the eco project that is it has issues that are affecting all of us on a broad basis? Do we have misplaced priorities? You are the center of civil society. Don't you think that civil society organizations are having misplaced priorities? Shouldn't we be looking at one major goal?
Thank you so much, moderator, and thank you so much, the previous panelists, for the brilliant points you raise. And oh, he gives me very big questions, which most of them, the answer is yes, others no. But yes, should we be looking at democracy? Are we having misplaced priorities? Now, oftentimes, what the civil societies are going to do mainly depends on how the government is. Now, we are in a kind of a dicta blunder where the civil societies are meant to look like they are not destroyed, as if they are preserved, but in actual senses they are actually not there. These civil societies will work very well in countries where the rule of law is, is working. But in such a country, in such a dictatorship, where we are supposed to go, the judiciary that is supposed to, where we are supposed to run to, the judiciary is run by regime cadres. You expect little or less from civil societies, and not all of them are quiet, by the way. As an alumnus of Forward, I don't know if you've heard of Forward, for Forum for Women in Democracy. I've seen them come out to condemn the brutality against women following the recent things, and I believe other organizations have come up. But we are in a situation where all we can do is maybe produce a notice, write a paper and produce, and that is all. Because even when you would want to go and report what is happening, there is nothing you can change, because I said the judiciary is run by regime cadres. So not even church, not even any civil society right now can cause a lot of change. So coming back to your question, the misplaced priorities, however much they would want to focus on what you think is critical, I mean, it is at the point is a waste of time. And as I've said before, and I will keep saying even now, this country needs factory reset.
But Maggie, as we are speaking about factory reset, do you think that this will happen overnight? I believe that we must start with the little we have, brick by brick. And I believe that once these civil society organizations come out, even the little that they do, it gets us there. Don't you think that we are speaking about the impossibility of having a one-day factory research that you're talking about?
Thank you so much. And I have not said this country should have a 1 day factory reset. I said this country deserves a factory reset. Now, it is upon you, the viewer, the listener, to see how this factory reset is going to happen. Now, I want to inform you today that we are not going to be blaming or calling upon civil societies to help us. Dear listener, dear Ugandan out there, you are your own civil society. If you want to see the change you badly want, you are the civil society yourself, and it has to begin with you. If you think we should change our priorities to democracy, to fighting dictatorship, to the factory reset, it comes back to you. There is no amount of cry. There is no amount of what you are going to say to bring this people. Okay, the civil society, however much they want, I know they want so much to cause change, but they've been put in a situation where the only thing they can do is write about what is happening, and it is for only a few of them that feel like they can survive within this dictatorship even after writing. The same fear you have when I tell you today, let us move and go face this dictatorship and fight against, the same fear you have is the same fear they have. So it should start with you, fight, then they will join you. You cannot be calling upon them when, even when they come, there is little you as a Ugandan citizen you can do for yourself.
But Margaret, civil society organizations are supposed to group people and bring them together for advocacy. That's the sole purpose of civil society organizations. And I believe that much as it's collective responsibility, they are mandated to bring people together to address these issues. Just like we are seeing chapter 4, it does legal affairs.
I want to thank you for that. And as we are here, I don't want us to be like the elders we are trying to fight. When we sit on such a panel today, I want us to discuss things that are feasible, things we can achieve. What you're saying is very good, It is very good when written on paper. Practically, it is not working. Yes, they are supposed to be bribing us to do advocacy in a normal situation. We are in a dictatorship kind of situation where I don't know how many times I will say we cannot use normal solutions for abnormal times. We have to do advocacy as civil societies, yes, very good, but not in a country like Uganda.
Margaret, are you implying that civil society organizations have no future in this country?
Well, I don't want to put it that way, but really, no one has a future in this country. Starting from you to the civil societies, to the churches, to the leaders, no one has a future in this country unless things change. For now, all our futures are blurry.
Ronald, Margaret says that we don't have a future in this country, and civil society organizations also don't have a future in this country. You are running for MP. What is the way forward? What are we going to do since we don't have a future? You're running for the seat in a country that people have lost hope. People are now, we are a country of broken promises. What are we going to do?
Well, thank you so much, moderator. And like she said, we are dealing with people who have made Uganda as something they own, right? So they believe that it's only what works for them that should work for everyone, right? And they make sure that when they are organizing their circle to take on authority over a country, it's only those that have the same ideology. So the reason as why I'm coming up is that we want to tell these people that yes, what you have worked then, but now we need to approach the world or our country in a way that resonates with the people. Why, like, to explain this better, we are in a country, for example, we know that it is now an IT generation, right? But we see our president coming up telling us the 4 acres model thing, which is not relating to what we are facing as Ugandans. The youth, we do not, like, we are facing unemployment. Yes, even we have no abilities to settle our tuitions in the institutions we are going to. Medical care is so expensive. But instead of focusing on ways, like, for example, and people who are working also, the payments are, so we need to have this idea of, we want to, at, for example, like minimum wage, where everyone is going to be at least fairly paid, you see. Then another thing is we need to face the world as it is running. Elon Musk is bringing up some things, then, like, we are talking about the Teslas, what, you see people are bringing in innovative ideas. But here we are with a president who says we are going for, like, using billions and billions to go and supervise a project of not even more than 1 million. So, like, what I'm trying to bring is that the regime, the government we are having is out of touch with the people. And that's why we, the youth, need to stand up and tell these people that, you know what, this worked for you then. And you're outdated. Can you please step aside and be at least advisors or guide us where we go wrong, but let us, the youth who are facing these challenges and who resonate with this, take on and face them on and find solutions that work for us in our generation. Not bringing the history, the archaic. We have a president, whenever he's talking, he will tell you, hey, in history, this and that, the Banyankore do this. Now, that is not working for every Ugandan. If it is working in Ankore, I'm not being negative about Ankore because I'm from Ankore. But what I want to say is what is working in Chiruhura does not work in Isinjiro or in Bukoma Simbi or in Mukono. We need to come at a round table. The people of this generation, not the other outdated who are supposed to be retired, who are in their retirement, but they do not want to know that they are retired while they are messing up our country. They need to step aside so that the people who are facing the real challenges come on board and find possible solutions. And that's the reason as why I'm coming.
Ronald, you drive us to a topic of young people and taking office away from civil society organizations and their role in this country. And I'll take this question to Flavia. Flavia, you're a young person, you're running for office, and Ronald here says that we must stand up and challenge the old guard. But over time, we've seen several young people that have run for office, and when they reach there, they lose touch with fellow young people. What is going to change this time? You're saying that 2026 is our 1986, and we are having the protest vote as the principle says, but do we are things really going to change? Because several young people are running on the ticket of the regime. How are we going to change things when we are still following the mechanisms and the strategies of the people who fought in the 1986 bush war?
Thank you so much. First of all, I want to assure you that we have a generational mandate. First, to protect our generation, our future, and our children. We also have a generational mandate to protect our country. Am I right? So our young people coming up is one of the biggest generational mandates right now. I can assure you. Someone coming up and saying, I'm running for office, is something you should be proud of as a young person, because they are questioning the status quo. They are questioning what has been going on for all this while. You were telling me that there are certain people that are running for office under the NRM. That's why I brought the issue of the generational mandate. As a generation, political parties come and go. I can assure you. Even the NRM of those days wasn't called NRM. You get? So we are not going to shy away from making sure our other young people on the other side are brought to book just because they are running on a certain ticket. We are not going to do that. It is our responsibility, and we have a duty to protect ourselves and to protect our future, even if it means monitoring each other's progress from whichever we shall be, whichever place we shall be. That is the generational mandate. Thank
But
you.
I've had a similar conversation with some of these young people running on the ticket of the regime, and they are like they are they have this belief, and they are saying that they love this country, and this is all because of patriotism. But what are we going to do in order to change this their mindset? Because over and over time, we've seen most of these youth institutions have been under the arms of the regime, but we've seen nothing that is benefiting the young people. Have we lost our generational mandate? Because even as we run for office, we don't have the resource that the state has. What is our future? What are we going to do?
I think you have answered yourself somewhere, somehow. Most of these people are coming up under this NRM government because they feel that is the only way. Have you heard in certain scenarios where someone tells you that in my area I cannot run under National Unity Platform because NUP is not in my area? Haven't you heard that? Haven't you heard of scenarios where people come out and say, I cannot run under NRM because my family is NUP? You know? So I think we are living so much on past glory, according to me. And I would still insist it is our duty as the young people that have seen the light to teach other young people. Talk to someone. Tell him, okay, you're going for this. What is your plan? Why are you doing this? You realize that a lot of young people are not doing it because they believe so much in NRM. No, but they are trying to push the agenda. They want to push this, they want to at least do something. I can assure you, very many of these people are not there because they want to be there. Yes.
Margaret, allow me chip you in there. Flavia talks about political parties, young people. Much as we have a generational mandate as young people, to protect our future and to protect this country, Don't you feel like we are divided by political parties? Yes, we want to run for office, but Margaret, in the upcoming election, you might run with a friend who is on the other side of the fence. Are we really protecting our generational mandate?
First of all, you ask a question. Don't you think we are divided by political parties? I think we are. Yes, we are. Are we protecting our generational mandate? Now, that is in so many ways. That is in so many ways. A young person like me, at some point, if I find a one makana running on, I personally I can forgive other people running on other political parties. But then when you decide to run on the side of the oppressor, makana, however much you think you are my friend, I am going to see you in the line of the oppressor. When you wake up and you brand yourself as a member of the NRM, when I look at you, I'm going to see abductions, I'm going to see torture, I'm going to see corruption, I'm going to see brutality, I'm going to see everything the regime has done. So by the time you, because we believe as a generation, we are supposed to be oppressed by the same thing. You can't be part of the generation when you're siding with the oppressor. We must all believe right now the age, the people that believed in the regime. By the way, people say, because we were not yet born, people say by the time this regime came to power, oh, they were the saviors. They were speaking lots of, they were angels, they were liberators. Where they have reached today, they have lost grip of everything. They have lost touch with people. And it gives me a lot of pain when I see a young person, most importantly, a young person that has gone to school. You are a land person, but among all the political parties in Uganda, you decide to sit with the party of the oppressor. There is nothing you're telling me about generational mandate.
But Margaret, if we are to speak of a generational mandate, doesn't it cut across all political parties? How are we going to do it to revive, to bring these people on board? Because Margaret, we love this country, and
Yes.
we want, bright future.
Yes.
I don't want to hear that a mother has a pregnant lady has died because an ambulance hit a pothole. It's very disheartening. How are we bringing these people to fulfill the mandate?
Can I please start from there? The pothole that is killing the mother is there because the government has failed. It is the reason of the failures of the regime. Now, you cannot tell me you want to fight to have a better Uganda when the only route you see is the regime's party. You're not helping, you're not adding to the generational mandate. If you want to see a better Uganda, better education, better health, better transport, better everything, you cannot see it when you're siding on the side of the oppressor. There is nothing you're telling me. Nothing. So if we have to get the money, that's why I told you. If she's FDC, he's DP, he's GEMA, he's UPC, PPP, whatever, we can sit and discuss a generational mandate. You cannot tell me you're in NRM because when you say you're part of National Unity Platform, you believe in the vision of that party. When you say you're part of well, how is it called? National Resistance Movement, whatever, that Reuters party. If you are part of them, it means you believe in whatever they do. You concur with the head of the party. You believe in their objectives, mission, and vision. Now, if the party has been in power for over 38 years and they still have failures, and you feel like it is the right route you have to use to change this country, then either you have a problem or something, I don't know.
Ronald, Margaret says that in order to fulfill the generational mandate, actually, let me phrase it this way: we must exclude a certain group of young people that are running on the ticket of the NRM. You are running on the ticket of the opposition. I understand that you're running on the independent ticket. And I have a friend who says that people who run on the independent ticket are regime apologists. And I believe there are very many young people out there who are going to run on the independent ticket. First and foremost, are all independent young people going to run regime apologists? And what are we going to do? Because we are scattered across different opposition political parties. How are we going to bring all these young people on board for one same cause beyond the election?
All right, thank you so much, moderator. Uganda, we have a rich history, and it is interesting when you read, depending on what all candidates that have always come up on the independent ticket end up going the other way. They cross over to the other oppressors party. So people have reasons as to why they are putting that, and it is valid because we've seen these people cross over to this side. And you ask me why I'm coming independent, right? I've not yet decided that I'm going independent. It's still in the pipeline. So by the time the time is right, we'll have reached at an agreement whether I'll go for a certain party because I'm looking forward to that. Then I'll do that. Then to get back on Miss Margaret's point, when they say that the youth who are siding with the oppressor, I want to give an example. When we lost the woman member of parliament of Chisoro, we saw the parliament. It's when they woke up, they were like, we are going to put up a special road for ambulances to take. So it is for them. If it's not for them, then nobody else. So if you tell me that you're a youth, for over 30 years, these people have been in power, what news are you going to tell us that you're going to join them to bring up? They have failed totally. And all they did those early years, they have now destroyed. So you have nothing that you're going to tell us as the youth of this generation that you're joining the oppressors to bring about any changes. We have vultures, by the way, amongst us, the youth. They are not joining to work, they are joining to eat. They are joining to have shares. And most of these people we are seeing siding with the oppressors, they have godfathers in the party. They have people who are pushing them, come here, my son, come here, my daughter, and also have your share. It's not about us as Ugandans. It's not about us as the youth who are facing challenges. It's about the old men or old women creating space for their sons and daughters to also join and eat. That's what we must fight.
If I move on to Flavia, as we conclude, give us your closing remarks, because we are working in a broken system, and most young people believe that being in a regime and going occupying office on the regime's ticket will solve our country's problems. What can you tell a young person who's looking forward to running on the ticket of the regime in 30 seconds?
Well, joining or coming up on the ticket of the oppressors, that is already a failed move, because we are fed up. There is nothing that that person is going to tell us. Whoever a youth coming on the NRM ticket, there is nothing they are going to tell us that they are going to bring on the table that is news making. We have seen it all. And what we are saying is that it's upon us, the youth, to move forward and make sure that we come up, speak, appear there, and make sure that we demand to have space at every table, so that decision making is made when we are also part of it. And for example, people think that you must be special. Like someone asked me that how special am I to think that I can stand? That's the mentality that most people have. We've seen great men like Bobby Wine from the ghetto, someone who nobody ever expected that they would become the person they have become. And now we see what he's doing. Actually, it's by Bobby Wine that most of us, the youth, are now awake and know that matters of our country are our responsibility. So to me, I'm telling every youth out there, you don't need to go to the oppressors to tell us that you're coming to join us, that's the only way. No. You can come. We have very many other parties. And one thing I encourage is that if we can, let the opposition unite and have one candidate. We have a party right now, if we are not being selfish. We have a party that has won the hearts of Ugandans and is doing well. If they decide and say, this is our suitable candidate that we should bring, let's sorry, all of us rally behind this person, because our aim as the opposition, first of all, I must say, is to make sure that the dictator goes back to Chiruhura and rests. That's our goal. So we must rally behind the candidate that the party opposition, the leading opposition party brings, and we push away these people because we can. We saw what happened in Kawempe. They brought up everything in their powers, but still the people stood their ground and they were like, enough is enough. We, the youth, can also do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and glad having you, Ronald. Flavia, Ronald says that we must unite, but over time we've seen the United Forces of Change and several different campaigns that have come together to unite these opposition political parties ahead of the 2026 general election. as young people, are we ready to unite to form a campaign that will make us occupy seats and maybe try to create to break the status quo? Are we there? Is it something doable?
Well, I want to agree with him on a few things. The issue of unity, we have grown up knowing unity is power. You unite, things move. I grew up from a family where they always told me you have to unite. So I believe so much in unity. But 2026 for young people to unite is impossible. One is because we have already discussed these things here. We've talked about other young people going on the side of the oppressor, us on the side of the oppressed, all those things. We've tried as young people to unite, but it's going to be hard. However, before even going into that topic, I want to first hint on something my brother here talked about. You hinted on him coming independent, and something popped in my head. Usually, uh, in times of oppression, when you choose to go neutral, you're the oppressor. So you coming up, when I heard you saying you haven't yet decided or you're independent, to me, I am not trying to attack you, but I feel like you are trying to play safe. And 2026 is not for playing safe for us. If we are going to come out and say we are fighting the dictator, we are not willing to play safe. And certain people coming out to say, I am not opposition, I am not NRM, I am independent, we are not going to allow that. And it just drives me back to the issue of unity. We are not just going to sit and say because we young people have to unite, we're going to accept and tolerate certain things. We're not. We're not going to sit down and say because we have to unite as young people. Yes, we have the generational mandate. We do have it. We need it. Yeah. But there's certain things we're not going to tolerate. Neutrality is being the oppressor. If you're neutral, you're the oppressor. That is not even something that you're supposed to talk about. Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Should I give my closing remarks?
Well, in 30 seconds, please give you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Think Space, for hosting us today. We're so glad. I want to send a special shout out to the youth of Omoro District. I love you so much. Yes. And Amaru Matek, Atie Kabino. And to Ugandans, the Ugandan youth, let us not tire until we have our country. Thank you so much.
Glad having you, our Omoro woman MP.
Thank you so much.
Before I let in, Ronald wanted to respond to
There's
you.
nothing Ronald is saying.
Well, let me cross to Margaret to
Thank
give
you
her
so
closing
much.
remarks. Margaret, we have a section of young people who want to run independent, and Flavia says that those who are running independent are on the side of the press. They're playing safe. But Margaret, we are divided by, we have very many people who believe that the demographics of opposition political parties in several regions does not balance, and they believe that by being independent they will garner the support of various people who support different political parties. Do you think this is something that is viable, or it's just playing safe, it's an excuse?
Thank you so much, moderator. Now, I want to start by informing you. We have to sit down as the young people to ask ourselves, what is our mandate? What do we want to achieve? We are very young. We still have a lot of time. Our first mission today is not to fill positions of power. Yes, if one gets one, very good. We have people in decision making positions, very good. At the moment, if we are envisioning a Uganda that is democratic, safe for all of us, a safe space as our motherland, we should first take away the mentality of having positions, and then we get on strategies. Why do I go this way? When you say I come from Karamoja region, or I come from the west, or I come from wherever, and for example, I'll speak for National Unity Platform, NUP is not known there. It is NRM that is known, so I'll go through NRM. Now, your goal is to take a position. As a person who is following a generational mandate, yours is to spread the word of change. Make sure everyone in your region knows about the National Unity Platform, knows our mission, our vision, our everything. Make sure everyone in your region knows the bad things the regime is doing. Make sure everyone hates the regime to the core. Make sure everyone gets to the side of the oppressed. Where I'm still coming.
But Margaret,
I see
we have young people who are running independent, but
I am coming.
They are sending the same message.
I am coming to
And are you saying that those who are not in opposition political parties do not subscribe to the generational mandate?
Comrade Flavia has already told you. Once you say me, there is no such a thing like independent. There is no such a thing. Deep inside your heart, you know the truth. Are we together? Deep inside you, you know the truth. If you say you're independent, I see you immediately as part of the oppressor. You're playing safe. So if you are part of us, you either choose to stand with the oppressor or the oppressed. Are we together? So control your. So I am coming back to you that if we have a lot of time to change our country, we are going to first make sure we spread. I believe you're one person that always encourages civic space. What are you teaching people? Change. What is happening in the country and what do they envision?
But Margaret, I've been at the center of civic education, and I believe that as a generation of young people, we must think beyond political parties. And I always tell people the multi-party system is one of the tools used by the dictators. We are being oppressed in political parties because I myself, I subscribe to a political party and I do love it. However, I believe that this same political party, it does clamp down on some things because it has morals, it has values. Don't you think that we must think beyond if we
Very
are to
good.
achieve the
I
generational
think
mandate?
so, and I believe what you believe. I feel what you feel. That's why I told you I do not fight someone from PFF. I don't fight someone from JEMA. I don't fight someone from NUP, FDC. What I don't. Why I draw the line is a young person, a learned young person who sits and within all the political parties in the country, he chooses the one of the oppressor. For you believe a party that has spent 38 years in power and has really tortured people, it is humiliating people, it is killing people, it is full of, let me tell you, national, that NRM party, NRM, right now it thrives on two things: corruption and brutalizing anyone that comes up to call them against their bad acts. Should you touch corruption, the NRM is done. Should you touch brutality, NRM is done. Those are its strong pillars. I actually believe they should go and edit their core values, money manifesto, what? Because they thrive on two things: corruption and brutality. Whoever speaks up against them, torture them, arrest them, kill them. Corruption, you see a head of state, a speaker of parliament, a what, like the heads of the national resistance movement coming out and they're saying it's okay. As long as when they stole, they gave you and you ate together. We are beyond redemption. This country needs factory reset.
Margaret, in 1 minute, as you're giving your closing remarks, what is the fate of several young people who are going to run independent in this country?
Dear Ugandans, should you see any young person running independent or running on the NRM ticket, I'm kindly requesting you, please don't vote them. Please, do you know cancel culture? Please cancel them. If they're doing their business, don't go there. I am very glad I've seen many buildings in Kampala that belong to the people in the NRM. People are vacating those buildings. You go there on a working day and the shops are closed because the rent is high, people cannot afford. Please, that is what I preach. Yes, I am going to preach the worst because the only thing we have as young people is the voice and the vote. You don't have the guns, they have the guns. We don't have money, they have money. Use your vote, use your voice. Whoever stands independent, whoever stands in NRM, council. As a young person, why would you stand on NRM? Why would you come independent? What reason are you giving?
Thank you very much, Margaret.
And before I finish, thank you. I was explaining why people should go and preach the gospel of change. I'll give an example of me. People that have seen me, I think, in the university, I've been at the helm of politics. In Mukono, where I come from, I've served my people, and people have been telling me, "Why don't you come for MP?" I mean, I could come for MP, or I could come for a better position, maybe district councillor or something. But I'm telling them, if National Unity Platform has a candidate there, or the opposition has a candidate there, and where I am, I can stay there for now because I have time. If I told you, even if you add 50 years on me, I'll only be 70.
Margaret, you have time, but this country doesn't have time.
Now,
And I believe I know the area that you're coming to.
that is the problem. That is the problem with you young
Margaret,
people.
in the
That
long
is the
run,
problem
don't
with
you
you young
think that
people.
we are carrying the same hypocrisy that we are blaming the dictatorship of having? Margaret, we have very many old guards in the opposition, people who don't want to leave the position, and you are speaking up as a, and you're saying that we have a generational mandate. Don't you believe that this is the time that we should occupy offices so that we change a few things there and there, much as elections won't change anything in this country? Margaret, aren't we being hypocritical as
Do you
opposition?
remember when I asked you? Do you remember when I asked you, or when I told you that as we are focusing on our generational mandate, what are we doing first? Is it filling positions of power, or making sure we garner as more support as possible? We bring as many people on our side as possible. What do you want?
But Margaret, I believe that when young people occupy these spaces, they have a vocal, you know, they have a vocal. There are statements they make that are very, understood by people, and people pick them because they are leaders in offices. I believe young people should occupy as many offices as possible.
And I am not stopping any young person from occupying any space, but I am saying we should not be as fast. We have to sit down and know what is our goal as young people. Museveni knew that what I want in Uganda is to take power. Even when he failed the election, he was number 3. Number 3 in the election. He said, no, what I want is the country. So what I'm doing, he gathered the young people of his generation that believed in what he believed. People that didn't believe in corruption, people that didn't believe in brutality, people that didn't believe in poor health, poor education, etc. at that time, because he was their savior. They came together. They said, yes, the issue now is not going to political offices. It is to change this government. He went to the bush. Now, you're going to be given tokens. You're going to be lied to by small positions because you want to occupy offices. And power corrupts, by the way. You're going to have a few people entering office and they will never speak. They will forget the rest. We go back to the drawing board. What do we want after getting that? How are we going to how are we going to go for what we are looking up to? Are we together? Not just filling up positions. We can go for the positions. We are going to go. Young people are going, but what do we want at the end of that day? So you young people, with that mindset of we should go and occupy positions, is that how you're going to change your country? Thank you so much for listening.
It's been
As I conclude, I want to thank the listeners of this space. I want to thank the listeners of this space, and I want to implore you people that we don't want to see anyone reason with the young people that are deciding to stand with the oppressor. We don't want to see anyone reason with young people that are choosing to call themselves independent. There is no such a thing like independent. You're either with us or against us. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Well, it's been quite an interesting evening, and I hope that we shall explore more about this topic next Friday. It's interesting, especially now that Margaret has said that we who will be running on the independent ticket are siding with the oppressor. So keep tuned in, and thank you for being with us. Have a blessed evening.